Welcome to my Qatar video. We travelled here at the end of September 2025 and had a fantastic trip, so here are some of the highlights of our holiday. We flew on Qatar Airways from London Heathrow to Doha. Qatar Airways is apparently one of the world's best airlines, and at the time of making this video it looks like it ranks as the number 2 airline in the world for economy class. So we had quite a pleasant flight. The food was great, good leg room and a nice headrest on the seat. As it was a nighttime flight, we attempted to get a bit of sleep on the way. From Doha Airport we decided to catch the metro into the city, which cost about 6 riads for a day pass, and ended up being quite a straightforward journey to our stop at Thakira, maybe around 30 minutes max. And from Thakira we got a taxi which took around 5 minutes to take us to our hotel and cost around 20 QAR. We were staying at the Mondrian hotel and we stayed there for 3 nights. Our experience at the hotel was really pleasant. They let us check in early, gave us complimentary breakfast on the first day. We were on a breakfast included rate, but as we arrived early in the morning, it was quite nice of them to allow us to check in early and allow us to enjoy the breakfast buffet that day. They also let us check out at 4 p.m. on the day of our evening flight to India.
يا حبيبة لو زمان يا حبيبة شوقي لك يا حبيبة لو زمان.
The suite itself was very spacious, and I'll give you a good tour of the room here so you can see what it looks like for a family of 4 staying in the Mondrian.
قعدتنا ديك في الرميلة ونساتنا تحت الشديرة، صفقتنا فيه الجبال هجري فيها الحجيرة، مرقتنا ديك في المغارب ضحكتنا فوق الجميرة.
We took the kids to the pool. They have one indoor pool,
شدينا فيها العريضة زي طيور فاقدة جيها,
but it actually opens out to a balcony where you can do some sunbathing. On the first evening we went out to explore Doha. First stop was the Gallery Lafayette and the Katara Mosque and Cultural Village.
شوقي لك يا حبيبة لو زمان يا حبيبة حبي لك يا حبيبة من زمان يا حبيبة.
We were able to see the traditional pigeon towers, which serves as a symbolic element of Qatari heritage. We made our way along to the amphitheatre and took an evening stroll along the promenade.
حبي لك يا حبيبة من زمان يا حبيبة شوقي لك يا حبيبة لو زمان يا حبيبة حبي لك يا حبيبة من زمان يا حبيبة شوقي لك يا حبيبة من زمان يا حبيبة
We got back in the metro and made our way over to the Corniche and walked from the metro station to the Corniche, where we met some friendly cats on the way. We took a traditional Dhow, a nighttime boat cruise in the harbour lasting around 30 minutes. It did smell a bit of diesel, but it was quite a pleasant little boat journey, getting a good view of all the lights on the skyscrapers with a nice refreshing breeze. After that, we jumped in another Uber from the Corniche and got dropped off at the Souk Waqif. You can catch Ubers really cheap in Doha, around 10 QAR per trip, so it's a super convenient way of getting around and very cheap way of getting around the city. But as we already had our day passes for the metro, which we'd booked from the airport to get to our hotel, we continued to use those tickets to get around as well on the metro. In the Souk Waqif, we decided to try some Yemenis food, bread with chicken stew, which was absolutely delicious and cost us a grand total of 58 QAR for 4 people, including drinks. So you can eat really cheap in Doha and enjoy some really hearty, tasty food. Unlike some other parts of the Middle East, the vendors in the souk are not pushy, so it's a reasonably laid-back atmosphere as far as a souk or a bazaar goes. You can also barter with them on the prices. Parts of the souk actually have air conditioning that blasts out from the floor underneath you, which is quite refreshing. So you might be okay to actually go there during the day, but we decided to go after the dark anyway when it's a little cooler to walk around. Be aware that a lot of the goods in the souk are not actually made in Qatar, so it's worth asking if you spot something that you like, if it's made locally, if that's what you're after. But we did find a really nice pottery shop and bought some mugs that were genuinely made in Qatar by a local potter. We decided to kick off day 2 with a bit of retail therapy down at the mall. We're just here in the Vendôme shopping centre today, here in Qatar, and it's interesting how there seems to be quite a French influence going on. There's a Monoprix in here, it's called Vendôme, and there's also another shopping mall called the Galerie Lafayette, etc. And they have an interesting dancing fountain show going on. Not that it's switched on right now, but it's quite a nice place to come during the day because you can escape the heat by coming inside the AC mall. And then you can go outside a bit later in the afternoon when it cools down a bit. We're actually in a place called Lusail here, actually outside Doha, and we just stopped at Dave's Chicken for some grub. It's a little bit more expensive, the food in the mall, so for the best deals you want to go to the souk where food is a lot cheaper.
but it's pretty good more to come. This at Vendôme. I've managed to find some really good bargain t-shirts in Vans and Converse, so some good shopping here.
The kids kept pestering us to go to the beach, so we went back to the Katara Beach. This time we had a little dip in the sea, which was very warm, before heading back to the souk to grab ourselves another bargain meal.
We're at the Khor Harbour, where people go fishing and where they go looking for pearls as well. We're here at the Purple Island. final stop of the tour, and it's called the Cultural Village. It's basically a pile of ruins, but it looks like they're trying to sort of rebuild the place a little. So I guess gradually they'll restore this place. So that's a fine end to what was an enjoyable 4-hour or so tour today, and it's bringing our Qatar trip almost to an end. We have got kind of one more full day tomorrow, because our flight to India is at 5 to 8 p.m, so I guess we'll be at the airport for about 4 p.m, something like that, or maybe leaving at 4 p.m. So we've got a bit of time to do some stuff tomorrow, but it's been absolutely awesome, and I'm going to end this video with some final thoughts on my stay in Qatar. For now, I'll just leave you a shot of the Arabian Sea. So some final thoughts on my stay here in Doha, Qatar then. Doha is super modern with some really interesting and quirky architecture. My kid said it looks a bit like a Roblox computer game, but there's still some sort of elements of the third world here with the souk, without being quite as mental as places like Morocco or Egypt. Like, people don't harass you in the souk, but generally you get the feel of a very rich and wealthy country. It's very clean, there's no trash anywhere at all, and people are super well behaved here. Of course, the laws are rather strict, so people are fearful of breaking them, which makes for a very safe place. The tour guide today, he said, when you're walking around in the souk, you really don't need to worry about anybody trying to grab something from your bag or anything like that. It's very easy to get around Doha on the metro. It can be expensive to eat out depending on where you go. Like, if you go to Starbucks, it's quite expensive. It's somewhat of a luxury coffee shop here, or if you go to some of the more plush restaurants, but you can always check the menu before you go into the place, and it is certainly possible to stay here quite cheaply once you get your accommodation sorted. From there, you can just head to the souk every evening and find some really cheap and very tasty food there. The best place of all, I think, was the Tunisian place at 58 reals, which is like £11 for 4 people with all the food and all the drinks and everything. That was the cheapest, probably best value and quality place we found. But yeah, just get the Uber to the souk every evening and then you'll be able to eat cheaply. And the Uber rides around Doha and Lusail are somewhere between like 10 and 20 reals, which is like just a few pounds, really cheap. So I'd recommend you just take the Uber around the city to get to where you want to go and don't worry about it because it's that cheap. But alternatively, you can take a metro or a tram. Honestly, the Uber is the cheapest, I'd say, maybe £4 for a ride. To go to the Katara Beach, you have to pay 10 QARs or 10 reals per adult. Kids under 15 get to go there free. But I recommend you bring your own towel, otherwise you'll be paying about 30 reals for seating down at the beach. I'd be prepared to see some women bathing in full burqas in the sea. But that's just one of those things that you see here. You see sort of different levels of that with many of the women are covered up, complete face, some you can see their face, and then there are some women are walking around just with their hair down, you know, so you'll see different variants of that, but you kind of expect that when you come to the Middle East anyway. It's a fairly strict Muslim culture here. So yeah, to find public beaches, probably your best bet is going to be the Katara Beach, but if you're lucky enough to be staying in a hotel with its own private beach, then you won't need to worry about that. Tomorrow we fly out to India, but Doha's been a super nice stop-off point before going there, and I think if you come here, you're going to really enjoy it. So ciao for now, hope you enjoyed the video and catch you on the next one. Bye.